Asa. Game on Daily.
Welcome to the world of Q&A, sir, where I started 4 minutes late. So you're probably sitting there right now thinking, it was never Gaz's fault that Go Live starts late. It was this Asa prick all along. It's not. It's Gaz's fault. Today even is Gaz's fault in a roundabout way, which I won't go into and explain. Welcome. So this is actually, I did a little count up. This is episode 8 of this little show, which isn't bad. Exponential growth. We've not had an exponential growth, but it's still going steady. I'm happy with it, and I'm here for another one and looking forward to it. So thanks for coming along. If you're watching after the fact, we still love you. Leave a comment. All the rest of it that YouTube has asked for. Painful Discourse, welcome. Isla, welcome. There's some stuff to talk about today. There's always some stuff to talk about. It's easy. Sometimes people say, oh, it's a slow news week, there's nothing to talk about. I don't really struggle with that. There's always stuff to talk about. So, on the agenda for today, there's a little bit to talk about games. By the way, there's no points if you guess the game that's behind me. It's too obvious this week. It's one of the games that I'm going to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about Forza Horizon and its Hot Wheels update. We're going to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. We're going to talk about the Xbox and Discord announcement that happened this week. And we're going to do a little dig into choices, consequences, and never pressing rewind. And we're going to let you bring whatever topics you want to. But all of that after this little note from our sponsor. Our sponsor is... Wait, I've got to bring it up. Our sponsor is GameOnDaily.com, which is a fantastic platform. So you know us from the YouTube channel. We've also got a news aggregation platform where you can pick up all of your latest gaming news. You can write articles, you can submit your YouTube content on there. There's all kinds of things. It's a wonderful place, but what a lot of people don't know is that if you sign into it and if you start making friends and connections, or just import the ones that you've got on Twitter, then the feed that is presented to you, the news that is presented to you, gets tailored to what's interesting to you and your friends. So yes, Isla, I am on live chat. I can see everything. I will just finish my little sponsored segment and then I will respond. So GameOnDaily.com, that is our sponsor for this week and every week, because it is the platform that Gaz and I have built and are building. So please do check it out after the show in your own time, every single day for the rest of your lives, more or less. Fake news? Absolutely not, Tony. Oh, you went on live chat at first, Isla. Okay, I actually remembered this week. I've put it on live chat. I'm going to see every single thing that you say to me. Which isn't to say that I'm going to respond to every single one, but I'll do my best. We usually have a good little conversation. So, can you hear music, by the way? The monitoring is not working again. It's very disappointing for me. But there should be... It says that it's playing. So if you can identify what the music is, you can have points for that. You get 0 points for identifying Guardians of the Galaxy behind me, because you can see all of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Apart from Rocket, I'm blocking Rocket. Good, you can hear the music. Thank you for this technical update. So, Forza Horizon. Oh, I still got a slightly sore throat, just tickling me, trying to take away my breath as we get into it. Forza Horizon Hot Wheels is the first one that we're going to talk about. I played it live on stream. One of them days that's been by, you know. Rewinding is banned. What's that all about? You know what that's about, Tony. You watched the stream. So Forza Horizon 5's Hot Wheels update. I played it some more today, and I've also played a bit of Hot Wheels Unleashed for the sake of, you know, a comparison, because there's Hot Wheels and there's Hot Wheels. So Hot Wheels and Hot Wheels. It's an obvious comparison to make. I'm thinking if I have time, I'm going to put a little video together on the Hot Wheels versus the Hot Wheels. But Forza Horizon 5, you know me quite well by now, probably, or at least my tastes in racing games. I like VR, and I genuinely struggle to enjoy Forza Horizon 5. I look at it, I see it like everybody else. In fact, let's bring up a trailer to keep things interesting. I look at it and I recognize Forza Horizon 5 is a top quality, fantastic racing game. But as games go, I can enjoy a pancake game, I can enjoy a game on a flat screen, but a racing game is just really hard to get into by comparison. Once you've got used to like sitting in your car, looking around, checking your knees fit and the steering wheel's not in the way, like actually being in the car and looking around, and then you go on to playing on a screen, it's jarring. Hot Wheels is like that for me to a degree. It's evidently a very high quality product. I'm sure, like, who's played it? Some of you must have it. It's not universally available. It's not on Game Pass. It's a paid expansion, and a lot of people paid for it in their haste to get Forza Horizon 5 when it first launched, because the Forza Horizon 5 included a excuse me, included a Twitch is a good idea, Tony. I should bring up my Twitch thing if I'm going to show Forza. Forza Horizon 5 had 3 or 4 days of early access if you paid for the premium edition that included this DLC when it arrived, and a few other bits and pieces. So a lot of people have already got access to it by default, but a lot of people haven't. A lot of people waited, played Forza Horizon 5 to their heart's content on Game Pass, and now maybe they're sitting there thinking, should I buy Hot Wheels? It looks good, but should I buy it? Should I not? See, Tony's there saying they paid for it for the early access. Have you got tucked into the Forza Horizon Hot Wheels stuff, Tony? I know you said when I was doing it that T-Rex, your son, is better at it than I am, which I can believe, because I just have a lot of respect for T-Rex, and I just imagine he's really good at everything. Let's bring up a random bit of Forza Horizon stuff so you can confirm as well that I crash quite a lot. Come on. There it is. There's my live stream in the background, just getting into the Hot Wheels content. And yeah, it is fun. So Isla's kindly linked my Twitch chat into the live chat on YouTube, but it is Twitch Asa_game on daily. I stream there sometimes pancake games, sometimes virtual reality games. Always lots of fun. And Forza Horizon Hot Wheels was it was there. I played it. It's good. It has a very different structure to Forza Horizon 5 in that the base game puts you in really good cars right from the start and throws a million events at you and says go and do stuff. The Hot Wheels expansion starts off a lot more sparse on the map, and I'd say they've kind of listened to advice to an extent, because a lot of people didn't particularly like the progression system and the overloaded map of Forza Horizon 5 and 4. A lot of people wanted it a bit more sparse. In the Hot Wheels one, it gives you an introductory race to see how fast it's going to be later on, but then it strips away all of the fast cars. It restricts you from using any of the fast cars that you've already got in the base game until you earn your way through the campaign and get faster and faster as you go. Which is good, but I did get to a point where actually I ran out of things to do on the map. It was slightly awkward on stream when I was opening on the map going, I need to get like another couple of medals or whatever to progress the game. But there's nothing to do. But more notably though, when you have those first cars, I can't remember what the lowest rank is. I'm going to say B, but it's a crap rank. It kind of hurt the experience a bit because it started to feel really slow. As soon as you get a single class up, as soon as you've done enough to get to the A class, it feels nice and nippy again, which is good, and it's fun. The game is absolutely beautiful, but very, very noticeably, it's more beautiful at night time. And for some reason, the day-night cycle. So Forza Horizon has this dynamic cycle. Time passes naturally a lot faster than in real life. It's not like one-to-one to a daytime, but I think the day-night cycle is about an hour. But nighttime in that hour is like about 10% of it. It's shockingly small. I did a little time lapse of it when the game came out, which has got quite a few views on the YouTube channel, but it's just a time lapse of sitting still in Forza Horizon looking at Mexico for one day in the life of the game, and the nighttime is such a small fraction of it. The same is true in the Hot Wheels expansion, and it's really weird because it looks so dry by comparison in the daytime. You get that racing in night, and they've put real attention to detail into the way that they light things. So nighttime in itself naturally isn't necessarily that interesting, but you get some nice iridescent greens and blues on the mountainsides, and it changes it up. And Forza Horizon Hot Wheels looks really, really good at night. Does it have Shark Park? Is Shark Park an actual Hot Wheels thing? Are you going back to the toys? Because I have been playing Hot Wheels Unleashed as well a little bit today. I don't own Hot Wheels Unleashed, but it happens to be available as one of these trial games on the PlayStation, which means you can play it, but only for 2 hours. So I played a little bit of Hot Wheels today, and that's very much different in a good way. And like I say, I'm planning to do a video on it, but it coexists alongside Forza Horizon 5 very well because it feels much more like it's really based on the toys. It feels like you're throwing toys around the tracks. They're much lighter. They are plasticky in their appearance and their reactions when they collide with each other and things. And you probably get Shark Park in there. Forza Horizon 5, no Shark Park as far as I know. There's lava, there's water, there's cars and tracks and water slides. I don't know. Anyway, not getting a lot back on the Forza Horizon 5, so I'm assuming nobody's played it or cares about Hot Wheels. So we're going to move on to one of the best games ever. Oh, that was a spoiler. RWK, welcome. We've just been talking about Forza Horizon 5, but I'm moving on to one of the best games ever of all time, which I didn't want to say straight away, but Guardians of the Galaxy I've been playing in my own time. I haven't been streaming it because Guardians of the Galaxy has a heavily licensed soundtrack, and it has an option in there to disable all of that so you can stream it if you want to. But when when the track is that heavily licensed, you're taken away from the experience if you disable it. So I just played that one offline by myself, and I'm sure a lot of you have played it. So Guardians of the Galaxy is available on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Premium, which is a bit of a story in itself, how unsuccessful the game has been and why it's on those services. Again, perhaps video incoming, but we'll see. The game is amazing. I can't stress enough. Guardians of the Galaxy, if you have not played it, is one of my favorite games ever now. So good. And it's I'm going to make it sound terrible when I talk about it. I'm going to get rid of Forza first, but don't need to see any more Forza. So Guardians is a good time. Dialogue, story carried it. The gameplay could have been polished. It could have, Tony. So this is kind of what I was going to say about it. The nothing about the gameplay stands out as particularly special. So the moment-to-moment combat, it's just it's passable. It's kind of fun. You dodge a lot, you shoot a lot. There's not really a whole heap going on. It plays. If you've played any of the Final Fantasy VII remake, the way that you use your Guardians is kind of more similar to Final Fantasy VII than it is to the Marvel game. In the Marvel game, you pick your character, and your other characters are either played by AI or they're played by other real people, and you are solely in control of that one character. In Guardians of the Galaxy, when the trailers came out, I think a lot of people expected you'd be able to swap between the Guardians of the Galaxy, but you don't. You purely control Star-Lord, and the other characters are controlled by AI, but you have control of their particular skills on cooldowns. So they're essentially your RPG skills. So you can say oh, Drax, I want you to leap in now when that skill's off cooldown. And it's only passable. The combat will not carry you through the game. You're not going to pick it up and go, this is the best combat ever. I'm going to play for the sake of that, and I'm going to skip all of the cutscenes. It's punctuated by puzzles that I consider to be a lot like the Lego games. J, that's a new name I haven't seen. Welcome along. Yes, it is actually good. It is actually good. The puzzles are a lot like Lego games. So again, they're not like a standout feature. And when I say it's like Lego games, if you've played any of the many licensed Lego games, the way that you progress through the levels on that in between combat is the puzzles, and you using the word fairly loosely there, but the puzzles basically amount to getting the right character to the right spot. The different characters have different ways of interacting with things all through the Lego games. Like you might have one character that's able to, I don't know, use a computer, and one that can melt down ice walls or something, and you just have to put two and two together and put the right character in the right place. Puzzles in Guardians of the Galaxy are similar. Like Drax can smash walls and move heavy things. Rocket can get in small spaces and use computers. Gamora can slash things and help you to high places. Like it's all very like rote, simple stuff. You're not going to play it for the puzzles. And I'm probably making the game sound really boring there. But like some of the best games, it is so much better than the sum of its parts. And Tony's already said up there that the dialogue and the story carried it. And I can't express that strongly enough how surprised I was. So from the start of the game, the dialogue is good. Like it's funny. The characters are well realized. They're very, very similar to their characterization in the films. Like the Marvel Avengers game, they're not the same actors. It's completely different people, but characterized and portrayed in the same way with the same kind of Marvel pacing and humor and all the rest of it. And they're all done really well, and their dialogue is really good. And it immediately grips you that it's going to be like an entertaining game, better than the trailers made out. And the amount of dialogue is straight away impressive because, oh, throat's going. Everything that you do, there's a lot of back and forth between the characters. Like right near the start, there's a bit where Rocket's advising you the way off to the right is a dead end. So being a player that has played video games before, you obviously go down every dead end because that's where the treasure lives. But no, there's no treasure. All you get is reprimanded by Rocket for not trusting him. And the game is... excuse me. The game is funny like that, but what I really didn't expect is that the characters and the story that runs through it will hit other emotions as well. It's really bloody endearing. The story is so good. Every one of the characters, apart from Groot doesn't get too much development, but then he can't really speak, so it's not too surprising. Every one of the other characters has really endearing character development from start to finish. And the central story that runs through, and obviously covers Star-Lord's character as well, it's just better than most games. I have emotions all the time. I'm like, I cried playing Forza Horizon. So Guardians of the Galaxy though, it's phenomenal, and it's got this movie-like presentation. Excuse me again. A lot of people are critical of the Marvel films. A lot of people love the Marvel films, obviously. They're commercially successful, but they are very, very commercial. And they're very, very formulaic. And you know the pacing. You know exactly how a Marvel film's going to play out, how it's going to go, when the jokes are going to come, when the action's going to be there. And people are beginning to say, hang on, I've seen this before. I want something a bit different. That's not to say that you're wrong if you like the Marvel films. A lot of people do still enjoy them. That's fine. Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of establishing that formula in the gaming space, but it is less established in the gaming space. There aren't loads of Marvel games that have been done well in the same way. So it just works brilliantly. Tom, that's another name that's not been here. Welcome along. So you love that about the game, the way it interacts with things you do, the amount of times the characters would talk shit because you were looking around too much. I love that. Yeah, it's almost disappointing when you accidentally interrupt it. So the characters will be having a back and forth, and you'll be like, oh, I think it's finished. I'm going to progress to the next area. And then they just start another line of the dialogue, and you're like, no, the dialogue's so good. I wish I had just like stood still for longer and heard more of it. I did have, I had a couple of bugs in the game, like in terms of polish. So Tony said it could have been more polished. I said the combat doesn't blow me away. The puzzles definitely don't. I wouldn't say that it's not polished though. Like it is delivered in a very digestible way. But I did encounter a couple of bugs, most notably scripts not executing properly. So you'd complete a part of the game and you wouldn't be able to progress to the next bit because whatever was supposed to open hadn't opened or something like that. So probably about 3 times throughout the campaign I had to reload checkpoint just to get it going. Tom, you've been around a few streams, the Game on Daily ones, always too lazy to come in, that's fine. You're very welcome to sit around and not come in if you want to. If you do, have at it. Have at it. So Guardians of the Galaxy, though, so I played it on PC, but you can get it on, so I played it on Game Pass on the PC. Despite, I think I did already own it on Steam for some reason. But it is on both PlayStation Plus and Xbox Game Pass. It was a commercial flop because Square Enix are complete nuggets. I'm being relatively polite, I'm just going to call them nuggets, but somehow they lost everybody's trust in their ability to handle the Marvel IP. And obviously Avengers is the bigger IP and everybody expected good things there and came away so betrayed. And then Square Enix cleverly debuted Guardians of the Galaxy at a Nintendo Switch event, immediately underwhelming everyone, just sending this message like, oh, this game is going to be underwhelming in every sense of the word. It's not ambitious, it's a Switch game and it looks like turd. Oh, lingering little bit of COVID in my throat. I apologize again to me for having a slightly sore throat. But no, the game is incredible. You had a glitch where the end boss killed you instantly. No, Tony, you're just not good at games. We've discussed this. All you had to do was move. Yeah, coffee oil up. That'll do. So yeah, that's a game that I've finished. Please play it. Please tell me I've convinced like one person here. One person here was thinking, oh, that Guardians of the Galaxy looks mediocre. Maybe I'll play it sometime. He's now going to go and download it. Because it's incredible. It does have, and actually leading into one of the topics we've got a bit later on, it does, yes, Isla, it is on Game Pass. You have access to it, and it runs on a Switch, so it probably runs on any potato quality PC as well. I'm not saying that you own a potato, but you don't even consider Goth a real game. Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy. It's more like an interactive movie. You gave up halfway when you googled full cutscenes, and the ratio of gameplay to cutscenes in that game is well. Oh, hell was here. No, don't give up. Especially when so much of the dialogue and character exposition happens while you're in control. You're missing out if you just watch the cutscenes. If you played half of it and you weren't enjoying it, then, you know, everybody's entitled to make their own mind up. I adored the game. The thing that I consider it to be similar to, and it's not a similar game, but the first Last of Us is a game that I always found the gameplay was pretty mediocre. I never particularly liked that. And there was a lot about that game that was like distinctly average, but the sum of its parts was better than any of the components. Guardians of the Galaxy is tonally very different, but it's similarly linear and similarly carries itself on dialogue and character progression and just an endearing story. Oh, it's so good. You should play it. If you've seen the cutscenes, then you do miss some. The other thing the game has that I haven't explored yet is there are quite a lot of dialogue choices and choice and consequence moments, and I don't know yet how heavily they weigh. I don't know if I were to play through a second time if I could influence it to be much different. I would say that even if every interaction in the game is entirely superficial and I can't change a single thing, it's still brilliant. Your Isla's computer is at least a sweet potato. Some people don't like sweet potatoes. I do, so have at it. Play Guardians of the Galaxy on it, have a good time. Tony, there are two types of gamers. One, the ones who want gameplay mechanics DIY type of game, and two, the ones who want a story, movie, push button X to defeat boss. I disagree, Tony, because I very much like both. I like Skyrim and I like whatever this one I'm talking about is, Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't need everything to be linear. I appreciate things that will throw gameplay at me. But to a degree, the ones that tell a poignant story they have an easier time sticking with you. How is it? Says the combat in Guardians of the Galaxy was literally an auto aim system and it aims for you, which makes it dull and unengaging. I don't disagree. The combat I consider serviceable at best. So it is very simple. You do have an auto aim system. It doesn't completely play itself for you. Like, the enemies will try and break that auto aim. It's got a little prompt to say, oh, they've used their little dash ability and broken your auto aim. All you have to do to re-engage is press the left trigger again, so it's not like a big thing. You get their different energy shields you need to break. You get some enemies that are different behaviors with different elements and things like that. There is a little bit to it, but I absolutely agree that the combat in it is not a selling point. So I can see people getting thrown off by that, but say it is serviceable. You can just bash through it. Dodge and shoot, dodge and shoot, dodge and shoot is all you need to get through the game, really. Boozy the Clown, you were sold at the Sam Fox poster and Iron Maiden wristband in the epilogue. And then, you mean the prologue? And then FGTH on the soundtrack. Oh, I'm on the spot. I can't think what that is, but yes. Tony also, despite saying there are two types of gamer, is now saying that he is non-binary. He likes both. And Tom liked the combat. You like that you need to use the other Guardians to help take down certain enemies. I didn't find there were many that you particularly needed to use the other Guardians for, but without going into spoiler, I won't go into like what various enemies you do encounter. So how was it? You don't need to say sorry. You're very welcome to your opinion. The gameplay on Last of Us doesn't play for you like Guardians of the Galaxy. You have some stealth. You actually aim at it. Exactly. You have some stealth, which makes it definitely worse than Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm glad we're all in agreement. Stealth sucks. Games that have stealth sections, by default, the gameplay sucks. And that is true of The Last of Us. No matter how many times Ellie tries to disrupt the stealth atmosphere by running around in front of you, it is still stealth and it still sucks. It even has instant kill stealth sections with... yeah. So yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, better than Last of Us. Which is a weird thing to say. I'm not comparing the two directly like that. I literally see them. The comparison for me is that they are carried by similar elements between them, and both of them, I would say, the gameplay is not anything to write home about, but the game itself is. So that's Guardians of the Galaxy. I like it a lot. It's behind me. Has anyone identified the OST, the soundtrack that we have playing today? You have to before it changes, because it actually covers 3 games, which is a big clue as to what it is. You do agree with Tony when people... So this is how was here, is agreeing with Tony that people like both types of games. They don't appreciate the gameplay aspects as much as they think, which in your opinion should be prioritized in games. I don't, because there are games that have nothing but gameplay going for them that are still fun. I'm trying to think of a good example, because I'm quite a hate-filled person and I don't like things to be too repetitive. But if you take Hades isn't a good example because it does have a reasonable story, but Hades is carried by its gameplay, not its story. And I adore Hades. Elden Ring's Tony's thrown up the examples of Elden Ring and Breath of the Wild, but I'm not sure which way around you're throwing that up, because Elden Ring's not got wonderful gameplay. It's got a wonderful sense of discovery and world building. How was this? Ask yourself how games started out. Yes, with gameplay. How games started out undersells the medium to me. This is a bit of a tangent, but I often hear people say that the whole point of games is that they need to be fun. And I've always felt that undersells the potential of games horribly. I think for me, games as a medium, best one out there, better than books, better than films, better than music, more powerful than any of them. So to reduce it down to games can only be like fun, that's the one thing you can take from them, I do not agree. I think the games as a medium still have some way to go to mature, but I think they can deliver everything that any other medium can and more. They're just powerful as medium gets, as powerful as art gets, which is one of the reasons that I love them so much. If they were still Tetris, I'd be less of a fan. And that's not to say that gameplay is unimportant. Say you can get lost in something that is just fun to do. I'm not trying to undervalue or undersell that as a concept. I mean, what about Forza Horizon? That's not got story, right? That's got really irritating voices over the top of it, but you play it for the gameplay, right? Tony's using the Simpsons arcade game as his example. Tony, you're so old. How was this? As devs found out they could make a game like Heavy Rain or Detroit or even Guardians of the Galaxy, which is far easier than coming up with actual thought-out mechanics in gameplay. It's the lazy route. Not necessarily. It's the commercially less risky route. I'm not sure it's lazy in terms of development, but it's the safe route. It's like the Marvel films again. When you're a big publisher putting a lot of money into something, it becomes normal to establish a formula and stick to it. So yes, to a degree, some games have been over-polished. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a lazy route or necessarily easier to achieve. Tony says arcades were the birthplace of gaming. Anyone who didn't experience it really missed out. I have limited experience of arcades because they just weren't as big in the UK. There were some places where they were, but not so much. I've been through my kind of gaming upbringing before, but definitely into them before stories were the be all and end all. Because that time has not arrived and never will. That's an interesting little tangent though. I didn't expect what is the essence of gaming and what makes it worthwhile. You know, this is an unpopular opinion. This was How was here again. You know this is unpopular opinion and you get it. These games reach gamers that don't want to think too much about gameplay. But that's not why you started playing games in the first place. I don't think that's necessarily an unpopular opinion. I think a lot of people would side with you there. Again, I say this an awful lot about VR. A lot of people talk about the importance of things being mainstream. Yeah, it's got to be mainstream to be good. And the games that you're talking about there are obviously, by and large, mainstream games. You can throw in like the Switch and mobile games and debate what mainstream actually is, but these story-driven games have a certain appeal and a certain reach. And for that to be... it doesn't matter how important that is to how many people, it doesn't need to be what's important to you. And I hear it all the time, like, VR will never be mainstream, and I do not care if it's never mainstream at all, as long as they make things that I like for it. If it gets enough support that they can make good quality content, I do not care if it's mainstream. I don't know, I don't understand why anybody cares that the thing that they like is mainstream. Mainstream rarely means good. So I don't think it is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I also don't think that mine would be an unpopular opinion about just how cool games are, at least not in circles like this where we all play games and love them. Yeah. Games were mentioned in studies to say it's good for old people and kids for problem solving, hand-eye coordination and other things, but now some games not so much. Yeah, those are the kinds of studies that this is something that Tony just put in the chat. This is studies like to say silly things. I've heard a lot of people in my time try and justify that Warcraft is good for them. It makes them excellent at managing teams and coordinating with other people, and it's not necessarily true. You could make that argument, but no, Warcraft does not make anybody a better person. In fact, 98% of the people playing it are dickheads that should never be given a job. Sorry, Warcraft players, but I've met some of you. I've been some of you. That's one that I probably shouldn't be quoted on. Does mainstream mean cheaper? Does mainstream mean cheaper? See, now you're specifically talking about gaming. It potentially should. Like a bigger audience is more people to spread the cost of development across. If you were to make a high budget game like The Last of Us Remake and you were only trying to sell it to the, I don't know, 20 million people that have got a PlayStation 5, in theory, maybe it should be more expensive than when you were trying to sell it to the 80 million people that had a PlayStation 3. There is some maths that you could throw at it to say that mainstream things should potentially be cheaper, Tony. You can definitely say, when we talk about mainstream in terms of the formulaic games, the linear ones, the things that Hell Was Here doesn't like, that are kind of processed, they should be cheaper in terms of development costs because people know what they're doing going into it. Hell Was Here, you win the OST game. The OST playing in the background today is Mass Effect. It's actually the entire Mass Effect trilogy, but for some reason it's in order. So we're going to get the entirety of Mass Effect 1, and then the entirety of Mass Effect 2, and then the entirety of Mass Effect 3. Total running time for it is about 4 hours and 20 minutes, so we're not going to get anywhere near to that, because my voice won't last. Tony, is that why they want VR mainstream, cheaper and more gamers on it? Well, VR's as well a weird case. People get upset if I talk too much about VR, so I won't go into it loads. VR's not about getting cheaper at the moment, because VR is in a state at the moment where Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to call them, are heavily subsidizing the hardware. VR doesn't necessarily need to get cheaper. A Quest 2 is ridiculously cheap for what it is. And it being mainstream will not make that hardware cheaper, because it's stupidly cheap. You're getting essentially like a decent mobile phone amount of technology for 300 quid, for like a third of the price you'd expect if it was a mobile. But VR having a bigger audience would obviously mean more people to buy the games that are made, and that's where VR struggles at the moment, because there isn't a huge audience, and the audience that there is splintered across devices. So particularly if you want high-end VR like PC VR and PlayStation VR 2, the audience for that is very small. The main VR audience at the moment is Quest 2 standalone device VR, which is less interesting to me than the high-end stuff. Wayne, good evening. We've had some interesting chats already. I hope people agree. I've actually been quite surprised by where the conversation has gone, but hopefully it's enjoyable, because there have been some good topics thrown up already. Painful Discourse says games can be good for coordination and memory, but COD multi is reportedly not very good, as you get the tunnel vision, and on higher skill levels it's just twitch memory. I still think I'd probably be dead by now if I hadn't played a lot of racing games growing up. I think my early years of driving a car, there were a few situations where I probably drove a bit faster than I should and probably did lose control of the car, and it was through experience playing games that I didn't completely lose control and hit a tree. So that counts for something, right? I owe my life to games. Whee! Isla learned finance from Roller Coaster Tycoon, which is glowing endorsement. No, I'm not going to say anything else on that. That's fine. Get on playing Mass Effect. It's fantastic with actual good, interesting dialogue, which you don't think Guardians of the Galaxy has. It's constant, overbearing banter that never shuts up, and it's obnoxious for you. So Guardians of the Galaxy dialogue, I can see how it's overbearing and obnoxious in its combat scenarios, because then you do start getting repeated lines and things. But in its exploration and all the rest of it, I didn't find that to be the case. Is Mass Effect free? You should have Mass Effect on Game Pass by now, yeah. The entire trilogy. And Mass Effect is a wonderful game, and everybody should play it at some point. All three of them. Yeah, on Game Pass, because it's an EA game. I'm pretty sure the Legendary Edition is on there. If not, the older ones definitely are, like the original releases. And it's been on Prime for for free on Amazon Prime as well. But you've got Game Pass, so it should be downloadable on the PC. Armchair businessmen are ruining games discussion. Boozy the Clown, give me an example. I don't disagree. Armchair businessmen and analysts have wild ideas, but what is the idea that has got your goat? What's annoyed you? Wayne bought... you bought the trilogy the other month. I know you did. That was quite a lot of months ago now, I think, Wayne. I remember that. I think that was right before it dropped on Game Pass, wasn't it? By like a month. Oh, Painful Discourse. They cancelled Splinter Cell VR development today. But that's stealth, so... I'm undecided on virtual reality stealth. I've not played much of it. I wanted to give Hitman 3 a good go in VR, but they kind of screwed the VR port, or kept it in line with the PlayStation VR version, which is like wildly inadequate when you've got better VR available. I hate stealth on pancake games, but when it's actually me doing the stealth, maybe it'll be fun. I don't know. We'll see how sneaky I get when I play Blade and Sorcery. So I've got my VR headset back. I will be back on VR being silly in the near future, and we'll see if I decide to sneak or not. How was it? They cancelled Ghost Recon Frontline. I thought you said Fortnite, like a battle royale one. Thank God. They should also cancel Skull and Bones. It looks awful. Yeah, Ubisoft should just like give up. Excuse me again. No, Ubisoft shouldn't give up. They have some talent there. They do have talent there. The what was the little game called? Phoenix Immortals Phoenix Rising was too big, too bloated, but had some quality to it. And I can't speak to many of the others because they're too intimidatingly large. I don't have time for mediocrity, and Ubisoft games are unfortunately hella bloated out with mediocrity. But they might have like good quality through the core if I were to just pursue the narratives and get on with it. Have I heard anything about Max Payne remakes? I haven't, no. They were confirmed, right? That Remedy were doing them in Northlight. So I can't remember which one. It's not the third one though. They're remaking either 1 or 1 and 2. The Northlight engine that Remedy used is the one that they use for things like Quantum Break and Control. And it's very, very good for smashing stuff. If you play Control, and I played Control, and as soon as I got any kind of powers, I just smashed every bookcase and window I could find just to watch the physics flow. So it's a very good fit for Max Payne. I've got high hopes for it, sorry, but I've not heard of when it will be around. Definitely in development though. Ubisoft should bite the bullet and be bought by MS. I don't want Microsoft to buy everyone. And I don't know that Microsoft would change Ubisoft to be better. I think if they did buy a big publisher like that, much like they are with Activision, and to a degree Bethesda and ZeniMax, they'll be a bit hands-off. Like, these publishers know how to make money, so let's leave them making money. And we'll see how true that proves with Activision Blizzard. We'll see if they can fix Blizzard's nefarious ways. Nobody likes the way that Activision Blizzard monetize their games. We'll see if Microsoft improve it or leave it be. Hopefully they'll make it better. I know it's a tongue-in-cheek joke, but I take everything with the utmost seriousness. No, I don't. It's still, even jokes can have some points worth a little bit of discussion, right? Max Payne and Max Payne 2, the Fall of Max Payne are the ones remastered, yeah. So they're doing both at once. That's good. That means they can charge 70 bazillion monies and nobody will complain because it's 2 whole games. I'm looking forward to that. I've not actually done much of Max Payne, if any. I think I played the first one. In fact, I definitely played the first one. But I didn't get like hooked on the series. And I think it suits Remedy well. I quite like Remedy. I didn't get along with Control particularly well, but I liked Quantum Break more than most people. Which, I meant that as in I liked Quantum Break more than most people like Quantum Break, but also I liked Quantum Break more than I like most people. You can take it however way you want, and it's still true. People suck. Not you lot, you're all brilliant. So, Xbox and Discord, let's talk about that. Again, keep throwing these tangents because they're fun. Oh, I missed a comment there though from, RWK wishes that EA would update Black. That game was awesome, and the audio. I played Black fairly recently I can't remember. I did, so there's a video on the Game on Daily channel that was looking specifically at the back compat on the Xbox and the PlayStation, and I included Black in there. And it still holds up reasonably well. Like Fear still holds up reasonably well. But Black was obviously, it was original Xbox, so it's even more impressive that it has those physics in there. Monopoly is not the solution. As we can see, Microsoft has huge management problems with Halo and Forza. Yeah, when I speak on Microsoft, not wanting them to own everyone. I'm very weary of Game Pass still, and that's not to say that Game Pass is bad. I like Game Pass as it is right now, but I don't want every game to be monetized beyond launch. Like, I still appreciate traditional releases as well, and I don't know what the future of Game Pass looks like. I know what Game Pass is like today, and I fully support that and encourage everyone to get it, but I don't jump in with 2 feet and say let's make this the entire future of gaming, because I think I'd miss some things about the past of gaming if we do that. Not least of which, I like virtual reality, and Microsoft don't support it whatsoever, so I don't want them to buy everyone. Wary, stop correcting my weary. I can be tired and afraid. Endless acquisition speculation grinds your gears. Yeah, it does get tedious, doesn't it? Tony doesn't give fig. Let's go with fig. The price of new games you always buy on sale unless it's a collector's edition that you want. I pretty much go along with that as well. Very rarely would I buy something like, I think I've said God of War might be an exception. I might scrape together money for that because I'd rather play that before I catch any spoilers. I'm quite good at avoiding spoilers, but I also do have a gaming news aggregate website and all the rest of it, so it might be difficult to avoid that ending. Can I ask the audience if they've seen the shorts that you made popping up in their feed? There's a question. So people here are presumably subscribed to my YouTube channel. If anybody is listening and is not subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button and lick the bell with your tongue 3 times in a clockwise motion, and then click it so that you get notifications of videos and things. The channel has some shorts going on. Isla has been taking clips of gameplay and these streams and things like that and getting entertaining bits and putting them into YouTube shorts. If you're not familiar with the inner workings of YouTube, shorts are handled differently to videos, and it would be good to know if they are popping up on your phone or your desktop YouTube browsing experience. Wayne has licked it. He's licked it, but the shorts are okay. Good. And yes, they are also on TikTok. If you are under the age of 16 and prefer to use TikTok for your media browsing, they are also available for you. Thank you for all the likes and comments and things. They do help. My little YouTube channel is still very small, but it'll get there. It'll get there if I keep at it, right? So, Xbox and Discord. That was the next thing coming up. What do we think of that? Who uses Discord? Who uses Xbox Party Chat? This isn't going to be a huge topic because there isn't a massive amount to say, but has anyone actually gone on the Xbox Insider Ring and had a crack at setting it up with a Discord? Tony is saying silly nonsense. Isla is saying smart, clever things. So Tony says Discord with a picture of a trash can because he just likes to hear muffled voices and have connection difficulties, whereas Isla prefers to hear nice, clear audio and have no such connection issues, so she's more of a fan of Discord. The news that happened, or that was announced this week, was Discord have significantly enhanced their integration with the Xbox platforms. If you're on the Xbox console Insider Ring at the moment, so getting the software updates ahead of time, then you can now access Discord through the Xbox. You can associate your Discord account to your Xbox account, and I've not used it myself yet because I'm too lazy to turn on the Xbox and link it to Discord. I don't actually use chat directly on my Xbox at all at the moment, which is relevant, so I'll come back to it. But they've made it so that you now, as far as I've seen, whenever you're using any of the party functionality on the Xbox, you have a fairly intuitive choice to either set up an Xbox Party Chat with the backend that Microsoft have been delivering for a while, or you can opt to use a Discord party. And if you're using a Discord party, it uses a Discord interface and lets you talk to people on Discord on PC for now, but we do also know that this is coming to PlayStation in the near future as well, so cross-platform chat as well. The key differences there that Tony isn't aware of because he's an Xbox head is, one, it works consistently. So if you're using Xbox Party Chat, and hell was here, I'm like you, by the way, I mostly play on the PC. Even when I'm playing on the Xbox, if I'm going to be talking to people, I actually do that through the PC. So my Xbox is actually by my feet right now, and my PC is slightly over there, but if I'm playing on the Xbox, I still use this microphone and headset for talking to people. So I always use the PC. And if I have a choice, I'll absolutely every time use Discord rather than Xbox Party Chat. But if I'm playing with somebody like Tony, then I don't have that choice, and we have to use Xbox Party Chat. So first thing to know is the quality is night and day difference. Discord sounds so much clearer. And that's partly because you can get a higher bitrate to the audio, like you can literally get a higher quality sound. And partly because it offers a lot more support for cleaning up bad audio. So if someone has a lot of background noise and things like that, Discord has tools to make it sound nicer and more palatable. So that's one reason that Discord is better. And the other one that's even more significant to me is that Discord actually works. It actually works. Every single Discord chat is hosted via servers, so you never have connection issues. Never is obviously not absolutely true. Like, some people are going to have Discord connection issues inevitably, but it is reliable and it is consistent. I have never had trouble with Discord like that. It just works. Whereas Xbox Party Chat, I can join a party with my children that are in the same house as me, and it can struggle because if everybody is using an Xbox, it won't necessarily provide you a server. It'll go back to old peer-to-peer networking where all of you are connected directly, and you get issues with your router, you're behind some natting and all the boring technical stuff, and it's just unreliable. And you have people sitting in a party and it's like half an hour of, oh, can you hear this person talking? I can't hear them talking. Can you hear them talking? Oh, now they've been disconnected. Discord will fix it all. So Tony, take it out of the bin, update your Xbox, and we're going to use it every time we play any games forevermore. But I am curious if anybody has been using Discord on the Xbox, if anybody has gone through the process, because from what I saw of it, the process of linking accounts, it looked a little bit more cumbersome than would be nice. Scanning QR codes and using your mobile phone and things like that to link it all up seems a little bit clumsy. Tony, you use game chat, you don't use party chat much. Is in-game chat the same as Xbox Party? That does depend on the game. It is a good question. If you were playing the majority of games on Xbox, it's the same technology as the Xbox Party Chat. Certain games from things like Fall Guys from Epic or EA's games, and even Activision's games, some publishers do have their own infrastructure and provide their own chat. So it is not a one-size-fits-all answer for you there. Boozy the Clown, they were... Wait, I've missed something here. Tony is going to try Discord for me. Hell with Zero is PC only. That's fine. Isla says we need more Acer fans in the Game On Daily Discord. Yeah, there is. So if you like Discord, there is a Game On Daily Discord, which you should all join. It's quite quiet. It's not used very much at the moment, but I'm sure it will be in future. There's a lot of people in it. It's just not helped by the fact that I very rarely go on there. But I am going to set it up so that there is a bit more of a me presence in there as well. So join the Discord. It's fun. Boozy, they were in yours this morning. Toxic Forza. I have missed something there. But so how was this? Says, to be honest, Sony needed Discord more than Xbox because in Xbox Party Chat you can talk to PC gamers with the app. There's no way to do that when playing PC and PS. Yeah. So the PlayStation side of it. So Sony's Party Chat is worse than Microsoft's. For everything critical that I said about Xbox Party Chat, then absolutely all of it applies to Sony's Party Chat as well, plus a little bit, because at least on Xbox sometimes it was server based and sometimes you'd have a good time. Sony's PlayStation Chat, no, it's not there. It's bad, and that's on the times when you don't have someone using their dual sense as a microphone. So yes, PlayStation definitely did more. PlayStation actually kind of announced it first as well. So Microsoft have had integration with Discord for a long time now, but that integration was limited to just like the game presence thing. So if you're playing on Xbox, you could get it to tell people on Discord what it is that you're playing, and I don't think it did much else beyond that, which was kind of useless. PlayStation came out So it was funny at the time because there was a lot of talk of Microsoft trying to acquire Discord last year. They were in talks or assessing them for a potential acquisition. They were going to purchase Discord and they were going to own it. And then that fell through, and at pretty much the same point that it fell through, Sony and Discord came out with an announcement to say that Discord was coming to PlayStation and that you were going to be able to use Discord chat on PlayStation. I can't remember at what point this was last year, but somewhere around the middle of it, maybe towards the end of last year. I don't know, but it happened like that. And obviously console warrior fan people felt that that was something to argue about. So a little bit of that has continued this week. So now the Xbox have come out and said, hey, the chat's here now. Some people do recognize that actually Xbox have got that before PlayStation, despite the order of events of those announcements earlier on. And they have their arguments, but the big bit of news there for most sane people is that both Xbox and PlayStation are getting this feature, which means Xbox and PlayStation people can shout their insults at each other directly or not. But they'll be able to talk over Discord. Hopefully civil and polite like. And that's a good thing. Like everything cross-platform, everything that enables and facilitates people to just play together and have fun is a massive bonus. Especially for all the parents out there. Like if you've got kids at school, you don't get to control what consoles and platforms their friends are playing on. So some of them are on PlayStation, some of them are on Nintendo, all the rest of it. If you can get them playing together without hassle and without having to peer pressure their parents into buying the console that your kids got, it's a big help, and Discord is a step in the right direction. Hooray for Discord. Nice simple bit of good news. What's next? Oh, I wanted to do, so I've got on the list of topics a little bit of choice and consequence in games, just as a kind of broad, this isn't particularly topical, there's no news breaking around this, apart from possibly the fact that As Dusk Falls has come out as a game, which is very much built upon the concept of choice and consequence. But what actually brought this topic to mind was the conversations we had around Forza during the week. Painful Discourse has just mentioned the Halo Forge leaks look crazy. Maybe there's hope for Halo. You like the gameplay and still play multi, but you don't need clothes and stuff, but people seem to want more. Yeah, you don't need to wear clothes to play Halo. I always play best in the buff. You're talking cosmetics. I haven't actually seen the Halo 5 Forge, not Halo 5, the Halo Infinite Forge leaks actually. I've heard people saying that it looks like the community are going to be able to build maps on a par with the things that 343 could theoretically build if they ever release maps. Right, basically the Forge is going to be good, and the community are going to be able to create high quality stuff. That is good. So look forward to that. Wayne's asked, have I played more Forza Horizon Hotwheels? Wayne, I can't retread it. We did talk a little bit about that at the start. Yes, I have played it a bit more. I played it a bit today, as well as Hot Wheels Unleashed. I'm not going to play loads more than I have, but I have played a bit more, and it does get better as you start getting through the tiers and getting the faster cars back. Halo was terribly mismanaged. You agree with Gaz 100%, and you're glad someone speaks up about it. See, how was it? A word of caution. Never 100% with Gaz. That's all I'll say. No, he's mostly right about Halo. The video that he did criticizing the gaps in the story and things like that were absolutely right. There are certain things that there are certain assumptions people make about the way that 343 are run that I don't necessarily agree with, but generally, yeah, I'm on the same page as Gaz mostly, and everyone else now. Everyone else has like been catching up on what they think about 343 and Halo, but we won't dig into that too much right now, because everyone knows where everyone stands on Halo by now, I think. Sony Discord will be used by all and be a monopoly. Got it. That's a funny way of looking at it. A monopoly on voice communications would be hard to achieve. We do not say the G word name here. You can say his name, he might turn up. It's unlikely. How is it? You don't know if we talked about the reason why Halo has no maps. It was shown that they outsourced the maps to some Russian company, and now the pipeline is screwed on future maps because they are MIA. I had not heard that, actually. That is complete news to me. And it is wild. And also, like, map building as a... If you're going to outsource that anywhere, there must be so many teams capable of stepping in, let alone the internal people. So, even so, terribly weak excuse for the pipeline to be that busted and for the amount of maps that it actually launched with. But anyway, never be sorry for off topic, because this is a show where I very much invite you to bring your own topics and we dig into them, at least to an extent. Wayne says Discord has gone downhill since Exception with all the add-ons and the payloads. Yeah, Discord has struggled. So Discord are a strange company because they were actually again, the Discord topic was kind of done, but it's slightly interesting. So Discord were a small company making PC games. I can't remember what the game they wanted to make was, but the game that they made was pretty much a flop. But alongside the game that they made a lightweight voice platform because they were fed up with the voice situation in PC land, where people were split between TeamSpeak and Mumble and all of these other platforms. They decided to make one that was very light on the desktop, that used open source codecs to give nice clear voice communication. And while their game flopped, their voice communication platform absolutely rocketed out of their control. And for many years, they made loads and loads of money off of investors, seeding rounds and funding, but they did not figure out how to make any money from the platform. They did not figure out how to make any money from Discord. They tried to build it into a PC gaming store. They tried to rival the likes of Steam and very much gave up. They tried to build it into a kind of gaming news platform as well. They tried to rival the mighty Game On Daily, and they gave up. So their monetization at the moment, as Wayne is alluding to, it can be a little bit annoying. They've got their Nitro subscription service, and they've got server boosts that you can pay for. And I don't necessarily mind the way that they're monetizing it, but the prices aren't particularly palatable for some of the things there, considering you get very little. It's almost a goodwill gesture to support them. But they have made millions upon hundreds of millions in borrowed money, in investment, in seeding. How is it wasn't aware of Discord until 2016 or 2017, but ever since then you've used it exclusively for pretty much everything. Parsec is another tool that you think is underrated. So yeah, I actually really dislike the interface for Discord. I don't enjoy navigating it. So if anybody has sent me messages on Discord, you can probably attest to this. Chances are I never read it or replied to you, because Discord is excuse me, at a surface level Discord is ugly, but in terms of quality of voice communications and such, it's worth persevering with just for that. So I use it in a very limited capacity. The Avatar game was delayed today to 2023 as predicted. Yeah, that never felt like a game that was coming this year. Gasp. Tony is yelling, bring your own toppings. Oh, bring your own topics, yes. Yes, any topics that you want to, but I do still have consequences. So the thing that raised this in conversation the other day on consequences was the use of the rewind button in Forza, and my complete lack of see, Wayne's here and he uses it, so I want to be really polite, but I don't understand the feature. Never have done. It shouldn't be in the Forza game. They're very strange to play with their arrows on the floor telling you when to brake and all the rest of it as the default. That's nice. I get. There's a lot of content in a Forza game, and I don't want to learn every circuit really tightly to post a good time. So I appreciate the lines on the floor, but I do not understand why there is a rewind function, so that every time you mess up or miss a turn or whatever, you can rewind 30 seconds or rewind another 30 seconds to artificially perfect it with time powers. And this is a very small start. So Tony says the rewind button is for babies. It's not true, because Wayne's definitely not a baby. And he loves it. He loves using rewind. And that's... I don't want to take fun away from anyone, but for me, I have to really stubbornly refuse to use the rewind button, because using it would take fun away from me. I just do not understand the appeal. of rewinding. Own your mistakes. Own them. Crash into that stuff and go, oh, damn, I might not win this race. And if it's a disaster, restart the race. How is it the rewind can be turned off and you earn more credits the less assists that you use? I know that used to be the case. I hadn't noticed it in this one. So when they first introduced rewind, I can't remember which Forza Motorsport it was, which is even more obscure, by the way. It was introduced in the hardcore sim version, not the easygoing Celebration Horizon version of Forza. It was introduced in the hardcore realistic sim game. And yes, it definitely had, at that point, you'd get like 20% extra credits or something if you disabled it as a feature, which I absolutely did. I disabled it as a feature. It is still the same, is it? I noticed when you go to set up events, you've got the option to stop everybody from using rewind in your events. I've been setting up events because it's the easiest way to get nighttime racing where the game looks prettiest. So when I was getting footage, I was like, oh, set up a custom event, keep all the defaults, make it nighttime. Thank you. And all of those, I saw that you can disable rewinding as an option for everybody. But it's still a weird default. Like, why is it on by default? Why is it prompting on your first mistake? Like, you can rewind if you want to, fucking idiot. Let me, like, put it in there as a weird tucked away feature for people that want it, and that's fine. But making it the default way to play, I just do not understand. And both times that I've been on Boomstick's shows, he's had different racing games playing, and I just watch the crashes, and it's like, no, don't rewind, it's cheating, you can't rewind. But that's minor, right? That's really short term. Online, yeah, online couldn't use it. It wouldn't make any sense to rewind other people's gameplay as well. Can you imagine the chaos if all 12 people racing could say, like, no, I don't like that bit of the race, can we do it again? And just rewound everybody by 30 seconds. Yeah, so you get more experience and levels and stuff with the assists of Hell Heroes, and that's fine. Like, I can't remember. So when I play Forza at the moment, I've got the entirety of the HUD disabled, so it doesn't actually prompt me to rewind even if I do have it enabled, and I definitely don't press it. I would feel so ashamed of myself. Like, if I pressed rewind, continued that race, I reckon I'd get that close to the finish line, and if I was in first place, I would pause it and I would start again. Like, no, I'm not having that. I didn't win that race. I don't deserve this recognition. Don't deserve these credits or this experience. Wipe my save file. I can't have it. But that's minor, right? That's owning consequences in an incredibly short term. Like, a thing happens and you live with it straight away. But when I talk about choice and consequences in games as a topic, I was also talking, like, more broad than that, because I really like and find to be really underutilized the concept of consequences in games, particularly in RPGs and things. And I go back to the very first Fable game on the Xbox, and remember there was a quest in there. I can't remember the specifics of the quest, but you have to find some item for somebody or whatever. And as you progress through, it gets to a point in the quest where you've done whatever you need to. You've learned a bit more about, like, the story behind this item that you're getting, and when you've got it in your possession, the next step of the quest gives you a choice. And it's like, Isla, we can come back to Ferdinand in a minute. It gives you a choice, and it's like, give it to the person who is clearly, like, morally the one that should be getting this item, or be a little bit more nefarious and give it to the bastards that are trying to steal it because they're offering you more money. And that was like a nice eye-opening moment. Like, oh, this is an interesting decision that I've got to make. I like that I have to make a decision. And the way that particular quest plays out was less exciting than the setup, because the actual consequences of it are you can go with the nefarious faction and sell it for more money, and you get a bit more money. But if you do the right thing and you go to the one that was offering you lesser reward, but who morally should have the item, then they give you some other thing. You get a better reward for it overall. So that in itself isn't a great example of choice and consequence, because it's still like, yeah, good guys win in this unrealistic gamey way. But what stood out for me is that I got both endings. So I did. I went to the good ending to see what they had to say, and then I went, oh, they gave me an item. I wonder what the item would have been if I'd gone to the nefarious option. If they would have given me something cool as well. So I loaded up the save file, went to the other person, and they just gave me the money. And I was like, oh, the first ending was the better option. So I loaded the save file and I went and repeated that and chose the option that I liked. And I couldn't help but think that it's lame. It would be so much more special if those decisions stuck with you and you couldn't do anything about them. You had choice and you had consequence and you had to live with it. And there are other games like Mass Effect was another example, like early on, where you have all of these dialogue options, and the first Mass Effect would tell you, again, it's not an example of like a perfect system in a game, because it would tell you like, this is the good option, this is the renegade option. You've got Paragon and renegade options, and you've got these neutral ones. And you could play through the conversation to see how it plays out, to like, oh, can I rescue this person by playing through these dialogue options correctly? And if you get the wrong set of options, then you just load it and you go through the correct set of options. But it's so much less impactful, less powerful as a storytelling mechanism than making you live with the consequences of your actions. And I want to see so many more games do that, make you live with it, because it's just better. And that's not to say that every game has to do it. Like, this doesn't necessarily tie with taking the rewind function out of Forza Motorsport. But if you give me the next Mass Effect game and you say you can't rewind anything, you've got one save file, it's updating constantly, it's an online-only game, you are living with the consequences of your actions, then those actions are so much heavier. Life is Strange is a good example, Isla. So Life is Strange has mechanically a way to rewind conversations. If anyone hasn't played the first Life is Strange, the protagonist has the power to rewind time. And oddly enough, Life is Strange is not a bad example of a game that is light on consequence, because they considered very carefully all of these conversations in such a way that you're supposed to see all of the outcomes and make your choice. And the consequences are usually realized a bit further down the line. So Life is Strange is actually a reasonable example of a game that does make you live with the consequences of your choices, but it has an in-universe way of letting you see various outcomes. It's a good game, by the way. If anyone hasn't played Life is Strange, I've not played True Colors yet. It's on my list to play soon, but the first Life is Strange, it's definitely not a gameplay game. How was it? You might hate it, but I liked it. It was a good game. And so the place where I always found choice and consequence like matters by default is in the online space. So if you're playing an online game, you can't rewind anyway. So I used to play a lot of online RPGs, and most of them weren't in a place where they can offer much in the way of choice. Like branching impact on a narrative and on characters was always limited in the online space. But anything that you did in an online game, you had done, and you had to live with it. So just by virtue of that, I don't know, it was like seeing in the future for me. This is what games can be. Make me live with these choices. So I very rarely go back and correct a decision if I don't like the outcome, despite the fact that games let you do it. Isla said that I killed Ferdinand, which I'll come back to in a minute. If anyone can get that reference before I do, then yell it out and have some extra bonus points. These points don't do anything, by the way. Don't try and redeem them at any point. But Isla says, no. This is reading Tony. Says, okay, Isla's challenging someone to a race. Tony says gas is expensive and doesn't like tripping, so he'll take his bike. How is this? Says the rewind feature can be useful in challenges since it brings you up to the top of a mountain, for example, when you're doing a danger jump. Rewind can almost certainly be useful. I just don't like it in races. Tony, adult money, but not enough time to play everything. Nobody has enough time to play everything. It's sad, isn't it? Which is why I'm trying very hard at the moment to be more selective in what I do put time into. Because there are too many games for me to play things that I don't massively enjoy. There are too many games that I will massively enjoy, that if something isn't doing it for me, I will move on quite quickly. Like Hollow Knight. So many games to play. Hollow Knight is not going to be one of them. I hated it after the 20 minutes or so that I put in. What was the example? Right, Ferdinand. So this is a good example of choice and consequence, because Ferdinand is a character in Fire Emblem Three Houses on the Nintendo Switch, which is a tactical RPG. And if you've played Gears Tactics or anything like that, then you know the concept of a tactical RPG. It's very turn-based, and most of these games these days have an option in there to play on a live with your consequences mode. They usually call it Iron Man or something silly like that. But a mode where when you die... excuse me, throat is not having it. A mode that when you die, or when your characters die, they stay dead. And it's an optional extra. Does apply to some other games that aren't tactical, like We Happy Few. I played with the when you're dead mode on We Happy Few, which was a relief because it meant that game ended. But you have it in tactical RPGs. Fire Emblem Three Houses, I have a disagreement with Isla on this because she plays quite differently to me. So much the same way as I have a disagreement with Wayne on using rewind in Forza games, that I just don't get it. Isla and her brother play Fire Emblem games by enabling the mode where when a character is dead, they're dead, and then save scumming their way through it. So save scumming being taking advantage of the save system to undo any decisions that you don't like. I played Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I immediately put it on the mode where if a character dies, they're dead. And in that game, that mode was quite underwhelming because one of the characters that I had in that game, called Ferdinand, became dead. To all intents and purposes, he was slain in battle. It was very sad. Everybody watching shed a tear because Ferdinand was dead. Except Ferdinand was still alive in all of the cutscenes for the rest of the game. He was still present in the school courtyards, willing to have conversations. I just couldn't use him in battle. So Fire Emblem Three Houses is a bad example of a mode where people can die. Nonetheless, if you're going to have it, if you're going to use that mode, use that mode. Don't save scum. Exactly. Delete your save file and start over if you don't like that somebody died. Painful Discourse has brought some spicy sauce. Let's have a little look at this. The Last of Us Remake leak shows lack of gameplay changes, but they said something different. Is it a cash grab after all? So this is a big pivot away from the choice and consequence thing, but I think I've more or less said my piece on that. I love consequences. Not in real life. Don't get me wrong, I don't want any consequences for my actions in real life. Gee, no, keep the shit away from me. I'm talking about games, I'm talking about fantasy. I want things to count against me there. I'll rewind all of my problems and run away from everything in real life. But I want consequence in games. The Last of Us Remake. I've not seen all of them. There's been a couple of leaks from it. Which I would think are very legitimate. So the game is like, it's gotten gold ready for release. The concept of games going gold is a bit of a weird one in this day and age, but it has gone gold. It is finished, which means what you're seeing in these leaks is probably representative of what you're going to get. And we've had leaks. I think the first leak was of the intro sequence where you're just walking around carrying your daughter or whatever. But then there was a leak of actual combat gameplay, and I've not watched it closely, but I have seen a bit of it, and I have seen the response to it, that essentially it looks exactly the same as The Last of Us did on PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro. That Naughty Dog said they're modernizing the gameplay to bring it up to today's standards. And people came away, including myself, people came away with an expectation that they were going to give it a Last of Us Part 2 lick of paint. They were going to bring systems from the newer game into the older one so that it felt the same to play for people that were going from through them in sequence. The clips that they showed suggest that pretty much nothing is different, that it is exactly the same as it was on the PlayStation 3 with some slightly prettier graphics and frame rates. Yeah. I'm not sure it changes my opinion on things very much. So is The Last of Us Part 1 a cash grab? Of course it is. Every game exists to grab your cash. Are people right to be peeved if they were expecting more from it? I think if Naughty Dog's messaging set an expectation that this was going to completely revamp the gameplay, and then what they release is a carbon copy of what people have played before, they're going to be a bit pissed. But people were already pissed. People were already pissed that the game cost as much as it did. Yeah. Tony says, when is The Last of Us remake supposed to release? It's in September. Can't remember exact date in September, so I'm going to say the 9th, but I'm pulling that number out my arse. It could be any of the days in September. And a bit later, probably early next year on the PC. You're a bit confused as to what people are expecting. This is just another Thursday, or another Thursday for PlayStation, from what you've seen PlayStation do for decades. It's pretty underwhelming if they are just fixing the textures and stuff. But if PlayStation just made Bloodborne 60 frames per second like Lance McDonald did and made it 4K and PC, less people would complain even at $70. Yeah, Bloodborne has a massive outcry of people wanting it. It's a little bit different because Bloodborne has never been updated from its base status, and people have been asking for any kind of an update for a lot of years, so the demand is there for people to pay absolutely anything for Bloodborne at the moment. And Sony don't seem capable of doing it. They know that the demand is there. They've lost the password for the source code. Bloodborne came out on the PlayStation 4, and it had not just 30 frames per second, but it had a horribly uneven frame pacing, so that it noticeably stutters when you turn the camera. And people have been rumouring and begging for a Bloodborne update since the PlayStation 4 Pro came out. They're still doing it for the PlayStation 5, and they're still doing it for the PC, and there's no sign of it. I don't think Sony are able to do it for some obscure reason. But I hope that I'm wrong, because I would also like to see that game updated. Fun Speculation Mav, welcome. How you doing? We're talking about all kinds of things. But we are near the end. It was revealed on... Wait. No, Isla, that's not why. I pulled the number entirely from my ass. Friday, September the 2nd. I had a feeling it was fairly early in the month, and I just guessed on the 9th. I'm not going to get into the topic of $70 games right now, £70, 70 money games. But very quickly, what do you think games should cost? What should be the determining factor? What should God of War Ragnarok cost, and what should Last of Us Remake cost? I don't want to get deep into the topic. Mav, straight in, that's why you're here. You're here to taunt me and mock me because a VR game was cancelled. Well, I got news for you, Mav. It's a stealth game, so I'm torn. I have mixed feelings. I didn't know that there was a Splinter Cell VR game coming, for one thing, so I don't feel like I've lost anything. Mav... Wait. Yeah, so I don't feel like I've lost anything on Splinter Cell VR. I don't know how I feel about stealth in VR, because I've yet to play a good VR stealth game. It could be that I don't hate them as much as I hate stealth in pancake games. It's possible. I wanted Hitman 3 to be the one that taught me. Right, let's have a little look at these prices. So, Painful Discourse, 70 money games, all of the smiley faces, wants to keep playing. Wayne wants everything to cost £20. I mean, I said on our Saturday show, like, as consumers, obviously we want them to be as cheap as possible without compromising quality or ethics. And if you want something different than that, then you're a freaking weirdo and you need to reevaluate. Everybody should want games to be as cheap as possible without compromising on quality. So I don't, and by without compromising on quality, I mean obviously the quality, and I also mean without loading it with other ways to make money. So we don't want to like take away that entry price, but back end stack it with microtransactions. We want games to be as low as they are, as low as they can be, without compromising quality and without resorting to like sweatshop labor or something. But £20 is, yeah, maybe that's fine. Who knows? Maybe they'll sell enough to make it worthwhile. Peter says that 70 monies is high, even though it's been 60 for years. The number of sales increase means that the price does not need to change. Do we feel that films are overpriced? It's definitely hard to say. There's not a correct answer. I'm not trying to get a correct answer out of anyone. I'm just wondering where people are basing the numbers, what it is that you're like, how you're looking at the value of a game, and why you think it should be anywhere near what it is today. Like, besides besides current pricing as a basis, if you were to forget that, if you were to pretend like games didn't currently have a price and never have had a price, it will be very difficult to arrive at a correct price. Films are like £20-25. I don't know what they are in dollars. I'm going to assume $20 to $30 for like a 2-hour film when it comes out. And I hear way less complaints about that. I value games a lot more than I value films. And they might have similar production costs, but Painful Discourse depends on the game. Absolutely depends on the game, and ruining my own like question there, because I always say that the price should depend on the game. It should never be the case, as it is today, it should never be the case that publishers set a price and then try and build a game up to it. The game should be made and the price should be set from there. But ballpark, like random examples of AAA games, I'm just curious where people pull their numbers from and where we'd like, not where we'd like to, but why we feel they should be what they are or what they aren't. Peter Moreland, cinemas are expensive, but the same argument does not apply as the audience is getting smaller. Cinemas, I didn't actually mean when I said that price for movies. Cinemas is something else. I mean when they come to disc. If you, and not many people buy movies on disc, but I think they're similar prices to buy digitally as well if you happen to buy movies for a digital library or whatever. But if you want them at their highest quality, if you want them on a 4K Blu-ray disc, they cost either $20 or $25 usually, sometimes more, but that's kind of the baseline. Dollars, pounds, whatever. Currency is confusing. I'll stick to saying monies. Mav understands people can see value of 70 or even higher. However, you don't believe it's necessary to increase the price and don't understand people championing the increases. Nobody should be championing increases. Like that's the attitude that makes no sense. People are welcome to champion the lack of microtransactions. Like if people feel that 70 is necessary or worthwhile to them, and that's the other thing, is you can never say what is worthwhile to a person. Like value is subjective anyway. 70 might be no money to some people and it might be loads of money to someone else, but that's all besides the point. I'm not entirely convinced that by increasing the price to 70, Sony are making more money than they would if they decreased the price to 40 and just sold a hell of a lot more copies, but it's not that simple. People with too much money and not enough empathy. Yeah, there's probably a lot of that going around. It's not even. So the arguments around people being happy that the price has gone up, I don't think it is the case that those people have too much money and not enough empathy. I think it is the case that those people are fucking idiot console fanboys. I don't think there are many people that are actually happy that the price has gone up for any reason other than it's what their team has done. Uh-oh, I just changed the whole show to an adult one by swearing there. Tony, the only reason to get Blu-ray is for the Dolby True HD audio. That is it. Disagree. Strong disagree. Disney has IMAX format, which Blu-rays don't even have. Disney Plus IMAX format is not as good as a 4K Blu-ray. Sorry. It's simple maths on the bitrate. If you want the highest quality picture on your films, then you get a 4K Blu-ray. Very few people do it. I don't even do it, because I don't care about films as much as I care about games. But if you want the highest quality image, then you get the Blu-ray disc, because they run at about 110 megabits per second, as opposed to Disney Plus's 40. Resolution and color grading and Dolby standards are not the be-all and end-all. Bitrate almost is the be-all and end-all. Not entirely, because you get different kinds of compression and all the rest of it. But the disparity between disc and streaming is huge. When Destruction All-Stars was originally announced at $70, it told you they just had a 70 next-gen policy and there was enough backlash for them to address that game. Yeah. It's not even necessarily, like, you might be giving Sony too much credit by putting that down to Backlash. Backlash was probably a factor, but it's more the fact that that game was going to die on its ass. Like, it's a multiplayer only game that no one was going to buy, so it was fact of the matter that corrected that one rather than anybody's voices, I would say. If people originally had a backlash about the practice in general, then maybe we wouldn't see $70 games now. Instead, games journalists and a lot of PlayStation fans championed it. The value of a backlash is somewhere. It's not completely without value. I'm a big fan of being vocal about specific things that you disagree with, specific directions that you don't want the industry to take. Even if it's completely futile, I will argue against NFTs. I will argue against microtransactions in certain circumstances. I'm not a complete idiot. I understand there are circumstances where they're okay, but I would generally argue against microtransactions in single player games and likes of that. For any other purpose than supporting a service game, they shouldn't exist. And I'll be vocal about that. I will not be that vocal about the price of The Last of Us, because not buying it is so very effective. And if we are in a situation where enough people do buy it that my not buying it doesn't matter, no amount of complaining is going to make a difference. People are going to make their own decisions and buy what they buy. I've said before, but that particular game, like, there are games where it's very ambiguous, like open to interpretation, the reason that you didn't spend your money on it. So there can be a game that I don't want to buy because I disagree with the pre-order bonuses or something like that, or I disagree with something that they've done that I just think is flat out unethical. And I can choose not to buy that game, but the publisher will probably sit there and say, oh, well, I guess this isn't a popular type of game, and not acknowledge what they actually did wrong whatsoever. So sometimes you need to articulate why you're not spending money. The Last of Us Remake isn't necessarily one of those because it's so clear-cut. Unless your one reason for not buying The Last of Us Remaster is that you've seen the deluxe edition pre-order bonuses and you object on principle, then you very much need to be vocal. You need to say, Sony, I'm not buying The Last of Us Remake, and it isn't because you're charging too much. I love your pricing. It's because of these pre-order bonuses. By all means, like, vocalize that. You're a weirdo because you should be complaining about both, but then it makes sense. Painful Discourse, it doesn't work like that. You put 70 on COD and FIFA and people will buy, hence the door is open for others. Yes and no. I mean, if nobody buys The Last of Us, like the go-to example, the price will go down very quickly. If nobody buys Horizon Forbidden West and all of Sony's other first-party games, the prices will go down. If nobody buys Square Enix's £70, $70 games in the PC space, they'll stop charging that in the PC space. Because people, well, to a degree, they'll acknowledge that they're not Call of Duty and they're not FIFA. And the numbers won't lie forever. Tony will always choose more real estate, edge-to-edge screen viewing over bitrate. You're wrong then, Tony. You can stick to 480p and just get a bigger TV if that's what you like. But you don't get more real estate from streaming over buying a disc. I like your takes though, it's fine. You choose what you want. I'm not saying that you have to start buying discs, Tony. If you want to watch your Apple TV stuff, then go for it. Watch your Apple TV stuff. Or Disney Plus or whatever. Fight you. Fine, just don't go for my nose. It's fragile. Yeah, I'm joking. You can't get my nose. Nobody can get my nose. Backlash doesn't work then. Backlash can work in some circumstances. And Backlash... I mean, the likes of Microsoft will tell you very much that they listen to your feedback. Sometimes Backlash is strong enough that they'll reverse their price increase for Xbox Live Gold or whatever else. Where else has Backlash worked? It's rare. It's rare that it works. Sometimes Backlash gets so strong that regulators look into loot boxes. Like, it can work. That's an example. Loot boxes haven't universally gone away, but there was enough backlash and enough concern that actually people other than the publishers started to take notice. Money speaks louder, obviously. But you also... Oh, how strange. I've still got one of my old streams playing, and there's a weird conversation about nipples going on. That's fine. The other thing with Backlash is when you complain very loudly that you don't like what EA are doing or what Microsoft or what Sony are doing, EA and Microsoft and Sony might say, I don't give a shit. Like, plenty of people are giving us money, but they're also not the only ones reading it. So you might say, like, I really hate loot boxes and I really hate $70 price points. And EA might say, ha ha ha, people are paying for them, you should shut up. But another publisher like No More Robots or Annapurna or Curve Digital might be going, hey, there's a big audience here for things that are more ethically sound. So having a voice is worth it. You can also very easily overvalue your own voice or like the sound of your own voice a little bit too much. There's always a balance to be struck, right? The UK government looking into loot boxes again, are they? Good. Good. We love the UK government. Money is money, that's for sure. PlayStation is still really scraping the bottom of the barrel. PlayStation is really scraping the bottom of the barrel in what sense, Tony? In re-releasing certain games, or? You could say they're scraping like the cream of the barrel by trying to overcharge everybody. 2 EU countries have banned the games with them. Yeah, and funnily enough, in those cases, most of the games. So one of them's Belgium and the other one, is it Denmark? I can't remember. But it's hit and miss, actually. I seem to recall, I think one of the... I'm trying to think between FIFA and Overwatch. I think one of them just pulled from sale from that country, and the other one released a different version that had no loot boxes in. I could have that wrong, particularly on which game is which or whether it is those two games. But yes, the consequences of banning loot boxes were quite different depending on game. Tony says, remaster is fine, remake is okay, re is doing it too much. Not if people are buying it, though. Like, money does talk, but... So, the original Star Wars trilogy, you can get on VHS, and you could get them again on DVD, and you could get them again on Blu-ray. You could probably get them on HD DVD, and you could get them on 4K Blu-ray, and you can get them probably remastered several times in between. And gaming isn't entirely the same as films, but a game like The Last of Us isn't far off. So I really think just not buying it if you don't like it is an adequate response. Much as Gaz has done a whole video saying that's not. It's fine. If it has an audience, it has an audience, and that audience doesn't have to include me. Atlas is also screwing over their fans with not giving the PlayStation 5 version of Persona 5 Royal to the PlayStation 4. That's a weird one, Tony. I saw that. What's weird about it is that there's a PlayStation 5 version at all. Persona 5 was a PlayStation 3 game and very much looked like a PlayStation 3 game. Persona 5 Royal was a little bit tidier. I'd be surprised if the PlayStation 5 version is different to the PlayStation 4 version. And the way that they're charging for it. I mean, the biggest surprise to me, yeah, Sony's cross-platform charging is a mess. Publishers have to make a specific effort if they want to get around the way that Sony have built it. But I don't know why there is a PlayStation 5 version of that game, because it will look the same as the PlayStation 4 version. What Gaz video is that? The source video that he released yesterday, I think. Backlash works mostly for Xbox. PlayStation fans almost never complain. Backlash doesn't always work with Xbox. PlayStation... PlayStation obviously have a much more muted presence on social media anyway. So I don't actually... If I wanted to rage against PlayStation, I don't know where I would be best off directing it. There have been a couple of things that they've responded to, and I can't remember what. A very recent example, so the PlayStation Stars reward, they very quickly came out to clarify that that doesn't include any NFTs. So there are definitely some places where PlayStation do listen. but lines of communication with them are definitely less clear than they are with Xbox. Xbox, you can go all over Twitter and you know that they're reading. You can complain on your podcasts and you know that they're watching. And in terms of, I don't know how well Backlash works on Xbox. Obviously, the big shining example is that they did reduce the price of gold. But gold hasn't gone away, so they're not listening to me. Anyway, cough, cough, cough. My voice is definitely fading away. So, PlayStation mostly think that they are the top dogs, and mostly they are not bothered. I don't think PlayStation would see themselves as being above Nintendo at the moment, so I'm sure they are very much looking over their shoulder at what works for others and what doesn't. But yeah, they're making their money. I don't know. I'm tired now and my voice is going. So, oh, you have a topic. Last one. Throw it at me. And I'll see if I can handle it. We've had some good ones through this hour and 45 minutes. Minecraft banning people for swearing. Have you been banned from Minecraft? That's not new, but people are still mad. Don't know where I stand on that. So, Rims, you can join in on this very last topic. People are being banned from Minecraft for swearing. So, Isla, you're going to have to help me out, because I don't know Minecraft. No, wait, what? Minecraft doesn't even have public servers, does it? What's the deal? Who's getting banned for swearing where? If somebody reports you in a realm for swearing, you get banned from all of online Minecraft. So this is, excuse me, presumably a Bedrock-specific thing. By all of online Minecraft, you just get banned from all of the realms that other people have got. I have no strong opinion. Minecraft is a Barney Kids game, so you can see why. But see, Tony, if it was open and public, I'd say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think people should be able to restrain themselves from swearing if they're playing public games that aren't rated for grown-ups. Like, if you know that you're playing Fortnite and the people you're talking to are probably children, then watch your mouth. It shouldn't be that difficult. Minecraft is, like, not public. So the realms will be paid for and operated by an individual who should surely be able to set their own policies. I know that it's a Minecraft service, like Microsoft are running that server, but they're taking money for someone to have it as theirs. So it seems a bit ridiculous. I'd call that one a mistake on their part. You can't even... Can you set up a realm to be open so anyone can join? Like, you have to invite people, don't you? Tony, a painful discourse. I don't know that Microsoft said no to NFTs. Minecraft said no to NFTs. It was specifically a statement from Mojang, though, rather than Microsoft. And Mojang said that it didn't align with Minecraft to be creating digital scarcity and all this other stuff that they said. Microsoft, I don't think have said anything as clear-cut on the topic. And I wouldn't expect them to, because NFTs is a fairly broad topic, really. They, as a technology company, should be putting some research into it. And obviously their decision might be that actually it's a massive scam and we shouldn't be part of this. But I wouldn't expect them to come out and deride a whole technology just on the fact that most use cases have been terrible scams. Whereas for Minecraft to say it doesn't align with what we're doing, for Mojang to say it makes a lot of sense. Kids on such games do swear, yeah. But if you were... So if I was making a game expressly designed to be welcoming to children, I wouldn't want the community to make it not welcoming to children. So I'd get that partly. I just don't really. So Isla saying that I could have reported her for. Oh, I still can. So I can go and report Isla for swearing on Minecraft, and it'll be true because she does all the time. Although not in the in-game chat, so it probably wouldn't work. And get you banned forever. Yeah, that Isla is not an okay thing. Mojang should receive negative feedback and fix it. Oh, Painful Discourse is late. You did say Minecraft. You were on point then. I read it as Microsoft. Forgive me. Forgive me. So, Mav, fun speculation. In an interview with Forbes, Spencer goes on to say that he doesn't think all NFT games are exploitative, but he's cautious about something like that appearing in the Xbox ecosystem. So I've got one friend who is a massive advocate of NFT games and pay to earn, and really wants us to cover it at Game On Daily, but it is mostly... I've seen no good examples. When I say that I don't expect Microsoft to come out and dismiss it, and I know that you didn't say that, Painful Discourse, so sorry for misreading what you did say. I don't think that Phil Spencer could come out and absolutely dismiss the technology when it's an almost certainty that Microsoft are currently working on it in some R&D capacity to see what they can do with it. It doesn't mean that it'll ever come anywhere near Xbox, but yeah, it wouldn't be a smart thing for Phil to come out and say, "Oh, they're all scams." Everyone is mad at Mojang for this. Cool, I got the correct answer. I'm on the same page as everyone. Microsoft, so they're on a wait-and-see approach probably on NFTs. If they see an example of it done well, you wouldn't be surprised if they implement it down the line. I wouldn't say that Microsoft are entirely on a wait-and-see approach. Maybe in terms of commercial releases, I would think they are fairly heavily invested in it in terms of research and development. I'm sure they have a number of members of staff and teams dedicated to figuring out what they can do with NFTs at the moment, and with blockchain technology and all the rest of it. And no, I've not seen any good examples. Like, in theory, like the concept of being able to own things digitally should be something that can work out in people's favor, but it never will. The whole idea of cryptocurrency is wildly hilarious to me. Like, it started off with good intentions as an unregulated market to help people move away from what they considered to be corrupt banking systems. Isn't it sad that to get away from corrupt banking systems, someone thought that the way to do it would be an unregulated market? So its fate was inevitable. It's full of scams and evil. Because that's what's going to happen if you make even less regulated money. It's not going to be better than the regulated money. Sorry. Square Enix is all in on NFTs. Square Enix, of all the publishers, I know we've already said earlier, there's plenty of people that don't enjoy acquisition speculation. The one publisher that needs to be acquired for their own good is Square Enix. Like, somebody save them from their own madness, please. Don't care who, don't care where they go. Just, they need someone to come in and say, hey, no more shooting yourselves in the foot, nuts, or face. Tony, rumour, VR section being announced next year for Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass. Tony, you can't just start rumours. That's not a thing that's happening. Not having it. Anyway, that's like, we're getting on for almost 2 hours, so that's plenty of show. Again, everyone that's come by and talked and thrown topics, there's been some new names as well that haven't been here before, so great to see. It is much appreciated. I am not around tomorrow for our usual Friday stream, so that won't be happening. Go Live is on Saturday, and I'll be back to normal streaming schedule, throwing in the VR and stuff as well. So getting a little bit more content going. There will be some videos, hopefully on this YouTube channel that I'm on right now, as well as on Go Live. So do all the liking and the commenting. Make sure if you already licked the notification button, then you're fine. You don't need to lick it again. Thank you for doing that. Leave comments and things. They all help. to some degree. I'm not going to pretend that I understand YouTube's algorithm, but other YouTube people with more success than me will tell you, like, it helps. Do the liking, do the comments, all of those things. Everything is going to be helpful, and I will appreciate it. I will see you all in the near future in some place or another.